I'm going to talk about a topic here where if it's understood and applied, it genuinely will change your life. And it's exactly about how we can, let's adjust this here. It's exactly about how we can find, remove, and destroy our limited beliefs and create new, empowered ones that are in line with what we actually want in life. And so there's a lot of different videos out there. There's a lot of things that talk about the importance of belief. You got to believe in yourself. Your teacher will tell you all these different things, right? Your coach will tell you got to believe in yourself, and your friends will tell you, and that's the message you get. But it's like, what is that actually? What is a belief? What does believing in yourself fundamentally look like? What is a belief? Well, understanding this gives you all the power over it. Beliefs are decisions that you've accepted to be true. I'm going to say that one more time. A belief is a decision you've accepted to be true. Nothing more than that. And so they're the lens and the filter through which you view reality. If you think about it, if I walked up to a door and had to learn how to open the door new every single time, life would be incredibly inefficient and ineffective. Or if I had to learn how to brush my teeth every time I brushed them, right? It would be awful. And so similarly, we don't have to wake up and look outside the world and be like, oh, I wonder how this works. I wonder what this specific circumstance means, and create your own beliefs about your world every single time you walked into a new room. Absolutely inefficient. So the subconscious mind to go and allow, or the mind to allow just things to go and work more practically and flow, has created this system and this lens in which you view the world, which is your beliefs, which are simply the decisions that you've accepted to be true. So let's say you've accepted a poor or a limited decision to be true. Something like, I'm not good enough. And maybe you're 5 to 10 years old and you watched your dad moving, loading things in their truck. This is a personal example. And he rearranged all the stuff that you put in. And I decided at that point, I don't know why I remember this specifically, but I decided at this point, I'm not good enough when there's people who are better than me, because he rearranged the things I put in. And so the way that it manifested in my life was every single time I'd be on a group project or I'd be doing things where I felt like there's someone who's clearly better than me at it, I felt like my effort was worthless. And so it would manifest in self-sabotaging behavior. For some reason, I'd have this like anxiousness around me because it was like I was put in a box where I could never perform to the potential or the way that I wanted in these projects or in these tasks when these people who were better than me were there. But when they would leave, I felt free. I was totally fine. I'd perform immediately better. And without changing that or consciously understanding that that was something a part of me, that's something I would have carried the rest of my life. And I didn't need to carry that for 14 years. It was just, an untrue thing that I decided to be true when I was 6, and I carried with it. And so that's the importance of why we need to go and especially figure out what these things are and get rid of them, so we can just get rid of these blocks that don't serve us anymore. Maybe they served us to a certain extent, but they don't serve us anymore at all. And so if you want to go and figure out a limited decision you've accepted to be true, there's probably a couple that can maybe just come to the mind already off the bat. But, think about the things in your life. Do you look at other people and think, oh man, I'm never going to be able to reach what they do? That's a decision you've accepted to be true if that's the automatic pattern or thought. Or if you see someone that you want to go after or whatever you like or something like that, and you're like, oh man, they're too good for me, you've probably decided that I'm not good enough for other people. And so when you go and consciously take some time to reflect about the untrue thing that you've decided, we need to figure out how we can disintegrate and destroy that, get that out of there. And so to do that, we got to understand how the mind works. So the mind, we already look through the lens. The beliefs are the lens in which we view the world. And so if we see something that's counterintuitive to this, we hear about confirmation bias, right? So our beliefs, if there's something that counters it, we'll kind of throw it out the window. So to not, because we just want to get it out of there. And I grew up my entire life hearing that confirmation bias is bad. Well, I realized you could just use that for your good. You could use confirmation bias to affirm what you want to believe about yourself. And so the way that it works is you got to go and get rid of the old one. We get rid of the old one by thinking of it like a table. All right, so let's say this table has 4 legs to it. And the way that I'm going to go and, kind of bring the table to the ground and collapse is I'm going to hammer out and just destroy the legs. I'm going to smack those. And so let's say the belief is the table, and then the legs or the evidence that we look for it. And so let's say you've decided and you realize that one of the beliefs you've decided is just fundamentally that you're not good enough or that you're not worthy. What you got to do is reflect on every single reason why that's not true. Ask yourself, is this fundamentally true? The answer is no. If it's limited, it's not. And then you got to think about every reason why it's not true. And as you're doing that, you're going and just smacking the legs out from under the thing. And you got to go and replace it with a new empowered belief. What it can be, it could literally be anything. It could be, and about anything that you want in life. It's creating your own rules and lens that you want to view the world. And so it's however you want to view the world, it's your own game to play. And so, for example, what you can do is you can think about yourself. If you have this realize that I'm just inherently not worthy of specific things. I don't even like saying that because it just doesn't resonate with me, and I just know that's not correct. Is you can think, well, what do I want? Man, I want like all these different things in life. And so you can just be like, decide I'm worthy of everything that life has to offer. And it's decision. You being like, okay, you know what? I am worthy of everything life has to offer. And then you'll feel the energy and the empowerment behind it. Now, obviously, what happens 5 minutes later when you're watching, you're on Instagram and you seeing that person or something like that, and you start going back in the old state. Well, here's how we can rewire new, powerful beliefs in yourself permanently using how the mind works. It's 2 steps. You make a new decision in the morning, and you write down the evidence of why that's true in the evening. If you do that every day for a month, if it's just a daily habit, you'll find new beliefs cemented in yourselves. So here's what it looks like. You got to go and create what's called a belief matrix. That's the way that I call it and describe it. There's a lot of different ways you can describe it. But what it is just take some time, get a note on your phone, get a notepad out, whatever. And it's all the decisions that you want to believe about life, the things that you think will serve you the best. And so, for example, some things that I have on mine is I succeed at everything that I do. Another one is that people are drawn to me and I'm able to be an influence for good in the world. Another is I'm worthy of everything that life has to offer. And so what you do is you get this list of these ways that you want to go and, the beliefs about yourself or the world. Another thing is like, money's easy to make and flows towards me, These are the decisions and the games and the rules that I want to play by. And so you make this list right here, it can be 10 to 20, maybe start with 5, what first comes to mind, and add to it when you realize, oh, I'd love to play by this rule. I'd love to perceive the world through this lens. And so you write it down and every single morning when you wake up, you go out, pull that list out, read it out loud. And if you don't want to read it out loud, just go and read it with intention. Every time, feel the emotion behind when you're saying it. And that's creating new neurological pathways in your mind that are going to go and be reinforced daily. And as you reinforce it, simply that daily habit is going to go and start creating these new connections. Now, obviously, what you're going and when you're creating these new beliefs about yourself, a lot of these old ones have 15 years of, the gray matter, whatever they call it, that's been going and, been firing. And so that's very strong. And so if we want to go and disconnect from the old way, we actually need to take some time to create the new ones. And it has to be intentional. And it has to be something you stay your focus on. So that's why you need to do it every single day. And then you use that confirmation bias to your advantage, because right as you're going to bed or in the last 30 minutes or whatever, pull out your phone, your notes, whatever you had written down, and go to those old, those new decisions you've decided to be true about yourself in life, and write down every single reason why. Every single reason why you saw each of those to be true that day. And if it's that money's easy to make and flows towards you, it could be simple enough as you found a nickel in your couch. If it's that, people are drawn to you and support you in what you do, find all the evidence of the different things and write it down. The first couple days might be exciting, and there might be somewhere it feels like you're kind of lying to yourself. But if you keep going for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, the next thing you know, you have paragraphs of why all these decisions about yourself and the world, why they're true and confirmation, and you continue to affirm it every single day, you got to shift the lens in which you see the world. And when you shift your lens towards what you want, then you start seeing the potential and the actions, and you can start grabbing everything that you want in life. And so everybody talks about, the actions and the working hard and the different this, that, and the goal setting. But if you have all these actions and you're going towards something and you want to make a ton of money in sales, or you want to go and be a great athlete, you want to do these different things, but then you have this internal resistance that's saying, oh, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy of this, I suck at that, other people inherently better than me. If you have all these decisions accepted to be true, it's just going to be resistance that makes it way harder, that no matter how much hard work you do, if your beliefs never change, you're always going to be going and fighting against a brick wall. And so when you go and create these new decisions, think about what you want in life, and then think about what does that person who has that life, what do they believe about themselves in the world? And then once you think about that, those are your decisions. You can be that. You can embody that right now. It's that simple. And so, everybody, gotta do this. 21 days. 21 days with this belief matrix. You go in and put exactly what you want to decide, what you've decided about yourself is true, and decide about the world is true. Create your list, get it up to 10 to 20 things, and then every evening before going to bed, write down all the evidence of why it's true. Do that for 21 days. You're going to start feeling a lot better. Things are going to start lining up. Boom, we got this. Let's go believe in ourselves.